Hello YouTube, and this is Eevee of 2.5 Trainers bringing you a UU battle against someone that I faced on Smogon. So just having a quick look at the teams. He's got a kind of random team, 2 Pokemon with Wonder Guard, which is probably the only reason for the Hippopotas with Sandstorm. But I figured he'd go for the Sandstorm right off the bat anyway, which is why I end up starting with Milotic, because, you know, just to try and scare it out, you know, if he ends up staying in. Lets me hit him with a Scald or an Ice Beam. Yeah, I mean, in some ways Sandstorm maybe favours me more because it gives my Claydol an even bigger special defensive boost. But anyway, we'll get on with the battle now. So as I predict, he does end up leading with Hippopotas so that he can get his Sandstorm up. So I go with Milotic. But I predict him to switch anyway because he'll probably see a Scald or an Ice Beam coming his way. So he does end up switching, which I guess right. Goes into Clefable, probably just to take the hit, or maybe because it's one of the only Pokemon that could maybe handle a burn. But I'll go for Dragon Tail anyway, because I predict him to switch. That brings out his Stoutland, which I found out later was a Revenge Killer, Choice Scarf and Retaliate. So probably not the best time for it to come out for him. But he stays in anyway, probably just to see roughly how much a Crunch would do. It does a fairly decent amount, but I get the Scald off, which actually does more to him than the Crunch does. And then on top of that, I get the Burn Hacks, so that's more or less a useless Stoutland, because with Burn cutting its attack in half, it means it's more or less useless. So I actually thought that he'd switch out here this turn, so he stays in to go for another Crunch, which does absolutely nothing. But I go for the Dragon Tail thinking he'd switch out. Dragon Tail misses, which maybe sort of favours me more because it allows me to just finish off the Stoutland now. So he ends up just going for another Crunch. Maybe I think he's maybe trying just to get the defense drop for something else, but he doesn't get it. I end up just getting another Scald. Ends up taking him out after Sandstorm and Burn damage. It shows that the first Scald was probably max damage, so I got like max damage and a Burn Hack. So, you know, pretty good on my pretty good piece of luck for me. But you know, because of the Dragon Tail miss and everything, rather than going for another Scald, my Milotic's not on great health. It brings out Alakazam. I switched to Claydol. I don't know why. I maybe thought he'd go for the Stab Psychic to finish off, but he goes for Energy Ball instead, which obviously is super effective on Claydol. But it's probably thanks to the Sandstorm that Claydol survived, since it gets an extra 50% special defense. So Sandstorm actually helped me out more than him probably. But I figure he's going to go for another Energy Ball, so I switch to Darmanitan. Darmanitan is frail, but it can take an Energy Ball, as you see here. Now, this scares him out because he probably thinks my Darmanitan is Choice Scarfed, which most are, but this one, as it happened, was a Choice Banded, just because I thought I'd see how it would do in UU being Choice Banded. Go for the U-turn anyway in case he'd tried to stay in. He doesn't, but, you know, get a U-turn doesn't really do anything to Hippopotas, considering that was a critical hit. So I switch out to Frostlass so that I can Ice Beam it in case he wants to stay in. I mean, this one isn't really an offensive one, it's a Spike Layer, so it's max HP, max speed. I'll go for the Taunt first in case he wants to set up his Stealth Rocks, because a couple of my Pokemon probably wouldn't appreciate that, especially since Milotic's not on the best amount of health, being under half. So now I'll go for the Ice Beam just to try and take out his Hippopotas as soon as I can. And the Ice Beam takes it out, and considering it's got no special attack investment, you know, that probably means that his Hippopotas, I don't know, maybe isn't holding Eviolite. I don't know. But anyway, that's his second Pokemon down, I think, after Stoutland. So he goes into his Heracross, which is nicknamed Trapper, and seems like it's got the Pursuit on. You know, probably not the best thing to nickname your Pokemon after its playing style, but I'll go for the Destiny Bond anyway. Pretty, you know, seeing as how it's Choice Scarfed, which most Heracross are. I was tempted to switch out, but I wasn't sure if Destiny Bond would still work if Frostlass switched out or not. Not sure how it works, but anyway, goes for another Pursuit. Ends up KOing Frostlass because of it being a critical hit, which probably favours me more than him, since this means he's now down 3 Pokemon, whereas Frostlass is my first Pokemon down. You know, I mean, you can also run Pain Split on Frostlass, but I figure, you know, with Frostlass being so speedy, Destiny Bond probably works better. I predict him to go to Alakazam, so I bring up Darmanitan just to scare him out, because he probably still thinks it's Choice Scarfed, and Alakazam probably can't take a U-turn. So I just keep U-turning just because just to almost play along with it, you know. That does a pretty nice amount on Clefable. And now I'll go to Hitmonlee. I was actually trying out Hitmonlee here instead of Heracross just to see how it would do. These Hitmonlees are Life Orbed, Reckless, so basically High Jump Kick can take out most things, but you know, I thought from that range of health, Life Orb to Mach Punch might just about take it out, but it puts it on the tiniest bit of health. So, you know, that doesn't annoy me as much as it's just the, you know, the Seismic Toss, 100 damage, yeah, okay. The main reason is just because on top of Sandstorm damage, I've now got to take more Life Orb recoil off another attack, which, you know, Hitmonlee's on pretty low health now, well in revenge killing zone, you know, and that's what he plans to do with the Azumarill here. Goes for the Aqua Jet, but my Hitmonlee's got speed investment, so it's Mach Punch, manages to hit first, just so I can get some damage off on Azumarill before Hitmonlee goes down. So yeah, wasn't the best match for Hitmonlee, you know, I mean, I could have gone for the High Jump Kick on Clefable, but I just didn't want to risk missing and then going down to half health, then having to take the Seismic Toss and Sandstorm damage off the top of that. But I got into Galvantula anyway, that scares out Azumarill into Alakazam. Not entirely sure why, because, you know, I'm obviously going to go for the stab, Compound Eyes, Thunder. So, you know, and that ends up putting Alakazam, nearly takes it out. I get the paralysis on it, and a paralysed Alakazam is a useless Alakazam. So, not really sure why he switched out to Alakazam, because really you need a freeze switch for Alakazam to do any good. Volt switch out for, really, there was no reason. I might as well have kept Galvantula in for Azumarill, because, you know, I wouldn't see any reason for him to switch out anyway, but going to Milotic just because the only one left now is Azumarill, and Milotic can take just about any hit that Azumarill wants to give out, with it obviously being, I think this one is max HP and possibly max defense, I'm not sure off the top of my head. But anyway, I go for the Scald, it's my Milotic's quicker, and I get the Burn Hacked yet again, so really not a good battle for this guy. Goes for the Superpower, doesn't take it out, but it is a crit, so I don't know, obviously with the burn, that maybe means that that's how much a normal Superpower would have done, so I don't know, I don't think the crit, well, the crit didn't matter really, because I still had another 3 Pokemon after Milotic, so didn't really have any chance. So, he's got leftovers on it, and I don't know, I mean, with it running Aqua Jet, maybe Choice Band would have been better for Azumarill. I think that's what most people run on it. But he goes for the Aqua Jet here, and after the Superpower and Burn, that ends up doing 12 damage to Milotic. I just get to rest, so I end up get rid of all that damage that is just done to me. I don't know, I mean, leftovers set on Azumarill, probably not the best one. I'd maybe run Choice Band myself, just because of Aqua Jet sweeping most things maybe, but each to their own, I guess. And at this point, you know, after Milotic's put back onto full health, he just decides to run, because there's no way of him winning, which I think he now does, unless I'm wrong, because Sandstorm and Burn's going to take him out in like 2 turns anyway, so he does run. That's the end of the battle, and so yeah, if you enjoyed the video, then like it. If you didn't, you know, maybe put some feedback on comments. Just put whatever you feel like, I guess. If you subscribe, we should have Vaporeon and Jolteon uploading some battles fairly soon. That's the hope anyway. So, yeah, that's it from me. See ya later, I guess.